We were laughing, we were joking around, and we were absolutely refusing to let the date end. Both of us knew this wasn't really going to go anywhere, but we felt like it was very important to just stand around like two committed idiots that weren't going to leave and weren't going to move. And we were very much pretending like this wasn't the most obvious standoff in the entire world. And people actually started looking around, right? They were looking at us because the energy was just screaming, kiss already. But we kind of froze, I guess. And this panic started building up in the back of my head where I was like, well, I made this moment so big in my head. Am I really just going to let it be this small and simple and human now? And then we kissed. Well, no, that is just the name of the podcast.
Julia and a guy sitting in a tree. Kissing.
Hello, and welcome back to And Then We Kissed, the podcast on the funny, the confusing, and the unforgettable stories behind my kiss list. I'm Julia, and I'm sad to hear by the one and only Sophie.
Hallo.
The most German you could have sounded.
Hallo. Hallo together. It is me again, the Sophie.
I already teased it in the last episode, but this is going to be the very last episode of this season. We're very excited.
I'm glad to be here to round it out with you.
I'm very glad you're here as well. And we're actually talking about a very round number indeed. We're talking about the one and only 100th person I've kissed. Now, guys, I've been teasing this story for a while now. I know, like a very long time. And I already said in the beginning, if I'm going to tell you the story of how I kissed the 100th person, you really need to understand how it actually got there, how I got there.
Is it the grand finale we're hoping for? Let's see, we're all curious.
I definitely have a cute takeaway, I'll say that. But before we dive in, as always, we're not really here to make out anyone as the bad guy. You know, we only have my side of the story and how I remember it. There's no right or wrong. There's only my memories, not facts, and we've also changed some details to protect the privacy of everyone involved.
So, as always, we have come up with the most creative nickname.
The most creative of all. His name is actually checked, but here's my issue. When Sophie and I sat down together to come up with his nickname, I was very much against the idea of naming him anything with this number. Don't ask me why. I forgot. So we came up with checked because it was like, you know, I finally checked the number of my list, but I hate it. So
me too, Loki.
I am re-proposing that we actually nickname him Mr. 100.
Sure.
I've been nicknaming him that anyway.
I'm gonna call him the 100th guy 1,000 times in this episode, probably.
Just call him Mr. 100. That makes a lot.
Mr. 100.
Mr. 100 is easier to pronounce than the 100th guy.
True, but like versions of that.
Oh.
Mr. 100, the 100th guy, 100 guy.
Take a shot every time we say 100 or 100th, and you'll be wasted.
That's promoting self-medication, Julia. That's a bad thing.
Well, talking about self-medication, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a root beer, actually. It's a thing the American folks might be familiar with. But in Germany, it suffers from the German title sickness, which means they called it root, aber kein beer, which means root but no beer.
Which really makes no sense.
It's so long and so unepic.
You know, now that you said it, I actually never realized that Germans do this.
They always have weird subtitles.
Moving on to something that doesn't have a weird subtitle. So my fun little drink actually has a little bit of a background, a small history, if you will. I mean, everything in my life does. I have to make a story out of everything, which is actually going to be the plot for today's episode. A little hint at that point. Every single episode that we recorded, I always only wanted one drink, but for some reason, my local supermarket was not supplying the drink anymore. And then yesterday when I went shopping, I finally saw the drink. And if that is not a massive stars-aligned moment that for the very last episode, I finally get to drink the drink that I wanted the entire season, I don't know what is.
It already has finale vibes.
Yes, it does. So I'm drinking a Lillet.
Nice.
That's actually the entire build-up.
It's just Lillet, just plain Lillet. It doesn't...
No, it's already like mixed, I think, with sparkling water. I think it's a Lillet Rosé White Peach. That's what it said.
Okay, because it would have been weird if you'd had a hard time finding plain Lillet at the supermarket.
To be fair, I have a hard time
Finding anything.
with everything. So
You have a hard time.
yeah, that's it. I also have a cute little glass with a gold rim. I'm really excited to fill it in.
I have a
And
can.
with that being said, cheers.
Cheers.
I feel so fancy. It looks so pretty. That is happiness in a glass right there.
It's happening. The happiness.
Not happiness. Excuse me.
The happiness is happening.
Guys, I think if I'm going to tell you the story right, then I actually have to start at the very beginning. Strap in. Let's go. Listen, I know that this is the second time this season that you have heard how immensely important the numbers are to me. And let me just say, they're actually not. And it never started out being important at all. When I started, kissing people, as soon as I had kissed the second person, I realized I wanted to keep track. And this is nothing new, and especially back then, it wasn't anything new simply because I have always kept track of anything. Ask my mom, she knows I love lists. So I started a list. It just made sense. I called it the kiss list. It just made sense. And lists are either with bullets or they're with numbers. And I mean, if I'm already counting them ahead of time, then I at least am able to keep track with how many people I had made out. So it really was just a very ordered thing. It was very innocent. It was very pragmatic. And the moment that it turned was way, 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 way later, way down the line, years after I started the list. I was at a party, alcohol was flowing, we were having fun, and the kiss list was continuously gaining more attention in my friend group. The more I kissed, the more people were interested. So we were talking about it. And I think at that point, I was at number 53. And this was a couple of years back. And one of my friends had said, obviously that is a high number, but what if you did 3 digits before you turned 30? And that's how the pressure was born. That's how the importance was born.
That sounds like such a Barney Stinson kind of challenge.
It does, a little. And I will say, at that point in time, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to take the challenge on.
Absolutely.
But I was also very hesitant if I could actually make that happen. I knew my speed at that given point. And I just thought, I don't know, man. That's a lot of time investment. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. So it just stayed in the back of my head. It became this fun little anecdote. But I never took it too seriously. And then a couple of years later, I started my hoe phase. And at that point in time, the numbers were climbing, the chaos really was unfolding, and then suddenly, one day, I wake up, and I'm at number 99.
We all believed in her, mind you. We all knew this day was gonna come.
I was not keeping track, I can tell you that. Yes, I know that some numbers were important to me, because somewhere along the line, I thought it would be kind of cute if some certain numbers had a cute little person behind them, but that was all at that point. And I really was not keeping track at all. I was still putting them in my list, but I was not really looking at the numbers. So I woke up, I'm at number 99, and I can actually tell you the exact moment where it hit me because I was on a date and I wanted to kiss him.
Oh, damn. And you were like, he can't be the number 100.
Do you remember? Because, of course, I texted Casanova's chat.
Of course.
He was sitting next to me. He knew what was going on because we were at some bar. It was a really cute date. He was nice. The sexual attraction was definitely there. And I did kind of actually want to hook up with him. And the moment was building for us to kiss. And suddenly I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't kiss you. And he's like, why? And I'm like, if I were to kiss you, you would be Mr. 100. And I don't know if I want you to be.
I love that you just said that.
Right out.
That's not... I don't feel like that's really a you thing to say. Because you do like to be upfront and stuff. But not to the extent that you like to ruin the moment. I feel like that's rare.
That I ruin the moment?
Yeah.
It is. I don't want to make things awkward.
Exactly.
But I think one of the big things at that point was this was actually towards the end of my hoe phase where I didn't know it was the end yet.
Yeah.
And I was feeling emotionally all over the place. And I think that's where things started to change. And so I think that's why I also said something in the moment, because things were already very different.
I mean, it's good that you did, because that would have been a shit story.
Well, actually, no. I was thinking about that. I've been thinking about that a lot, because him and I, since then, we never met up again, even though he was actually immensely respectful, and I think he found the thing very funny.
Boring.
It turned into this thing where we had each other on Instagram, and I know that I was talking about this in my stories, where I was like, guys, what am I gonna do about this? And he kept liking every single story where I mentioned that I still hadn't kissed the number 100.
It's cute.
And it was almost like he was just respectfully waiting for his turn.
Yeah, we love a respectful guy.
But it fizzled out, unfortunately. So I'm sitting on that date. I'm furiously texting into the group chat next to him. We're discussing pros and cons, if it were to be a good idea if I kissed him or not. And we ultimately decided that I do not feel comfortable making that decision in that moment. And so I was not going to kiss him.
Yeah, everyone was confused in the group chat, so we just
said, nah.
Yeah, we just said nah.
Let's reconvene.
Yeah.
Because when I started talking to Sophie and Flo about this, I realized this is the 100th person. This needs to be a really good story. Because at that point, I'm going to be very real. I'm going to be so real right now. At that point, I was already planning on doing this podcast. I didn't know exactly at that point how it was going to look, the exact structure, etc. But I did know that I wanted to mention this. I wanted to bring out the story. I already knew I was going to talk about my whole phase, and it just felt right talking about the 100th person.
Yeah.
And so I felt like if this is going to be an episode, it actually has to be a massive story.
Yeah, like you have to have something to talk about for 40 minutes to
exactly
make it a whole episode.
And also I just wanted this to be like absolutely magical. I mean, this was going to be the moment that I essentially cross the finish line. I run through a ribbon filled with glitter and there's bragging rights involved and everything. It felt like it has to be big. I have to make it big.
Yeah, it's really part of Julia's personality that she kissed that many people, and it's a beautiful thing, and so it had to be celebrated.
It's also a big part of my personality, making things big that really should not be big.
Of course. She wore a crown at her birthday.
So yeah, at that point, it spiraled into this entire big thing. It was a myth at this point. It was something that I had to fulfill. It was a milestone I had to reach. I turned to Instagram. I turned to ChatGPT. I turned to Google. I started involving all of my friends, and I was like, people.
It really became a meme and a running joke, and we brainstormed so hard.
How do I make this big?
How does this get big?
We had so many ideas.
Really shit ones.
Really good ones.
Remember the one where Flo and I said we're gonna stack on top of each other in a trench coat, and you would stand at a corner with a guy, and we would make it rain through like a watering can? That was a shit idea, but you have to understand that it was also a running gag at the time.
At that point, we were like, well, maybe we should make the scene magical to make the story magical.
Yeah.
And so the idea was, well, we can't really control rain, but Flo and Sophie can put on the trench coat and make it rain.
Exactly.
We also had this idea that maybe the person, like my relation to him, should be magical or like special.
But that would have meant that she would have to build a relationship, because at the time there wasn't really anyone that was that close or magical.
Yeah, there had been no one in the reserves at that point. We were thinking, I think this was actually Sophie's idea, but there was a guy during my hoe phase, I haven't done an episode on him, that really hurt me. And Sophie said that I should figure out who his father is and then kiss his father as the 100th person. That would have been
such an epic win.
But I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to figure that out. And that also feels like the most stupid, petty revenge. And I have better things to do.
Yeah, but like the childish comeback of I fucked your father, it would have been amazing.
Oh yeah, and I still stand by that, but
How?
Unfortunately, I had no time and no resources to figure that one out.
How?
Additionally, his best friend or whatever.
And what if he would have been ugly?
Still would have made for a really good story.
Sure.
So, yeah. So the ideas were really flowing. You can hear it. People on Instagram were telling me that I should kiss a lesbian because it was Pride Month.
Hey, yeah.
Other people were saying I should not make this a big deal. I did not listen to them. Like I said, there were a lot of ideas. One person said that I should throw a party, and then the last person to leave would get to kiss me. And then we had this idea, and I think we actually ran with it for a while. We would go into a standard club, and we would take a hat with us and pieces of paper, and we would start recruiting people with the message like, hey, the next person she kisses is gonna be the 100th person, are you interested? And then we make this big thing of like pulling out the piece of paper with their name on it.
We would have made it a lottery, but for Flo it was social anxiety, and for me it was not wanting to talk to drunk men in a club.
And I was not going to do it alone. I felt like if I was going to do it alone, there's no fun in it.
Yeah.
So we said no to the idea. I also went on a couple of trips at that point in my time. One of them was Sophie and Flo. We went to Dublin. And we had the mission to find someone in Dublin or on one of my other trips, because we were like, well, maybe it could be a cute little holiday romance.
Yeah, that would have made it special too.
Yeah, but then, I don't know, it just never worked out for some reason.
No.
I couldn't really tell you what happened.
The vibes just weren't there, as I would say.
The vibes weren't there for sure. And at that point, so much time had passed and I had still not kissed anyone new. And I would turn to Flo at one point and I was like, it's been so and so much time since I kissed someone new. And he was like, oh my God, call the cops.
Call 911.
Something is wrong with you.
Call 911 and kiss the cutest cop that shows up.
Wouldn't be the first officer. But I mean, you can tell it turned into a massive thing. We had so many ideas. We completely lost track of the human being at the end. Nothing worked out. So much time had passed. And I mean, you know that it's really bad when even I start rejecting kisses just based on purely narrative grounds.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point, I mean, again, I've already said this was happening at the end of my whole phase. I was emotionally wrung out. I was a wreck. I was overstimulated. And I was really weirdly sentimental. And I was at that point in my life where I realized that the whole phase was coming to an end. But I was still really clinging to its, like, performance high.
Yeah, to be fair, it was a really bad moment for the whole phase to end because of the 100th guy situation.
It was an absolutely terrible moment. It really wasn't anything like I had pictured it. I can tell you that right now. Because I think if it wouldn't have been at the end of the whole phase, I maybe would have never given it this much thought. And I think I would have very easily just somehow managed to end up in a situation that would have been so fun to tell anyway.
Probably.
Chances would have been very high.
But also, if you start putting a lot of thought and work into stuff like this, it's almost bound to fail.
And that is the exact moment where the turning point came in, where I realized, you know, I kind of had an epiphany where I was like, okay, this entire process is actually completely swallowing the joy. This is not what the list is about. The list is about me being in the moment and wanting to kiss someone who wants to kiss me back. And it wasn't working. I mean, I was essentially trying to cast Mr. 100 as if I was running auditions at that point.
Yeah. And also the list was about going with the flow, and you had to keep documenting them because you would have forget them because you were so much going with the flow.
Yeah.
And that would so be the opposite of everything the list stood for.
Yeah, exactly. But I really lost sight of that. I mean, you guys were also pitching plots as if I was writing the very last season of my life at this point. Season finale.
She's gonna die after the 100th kiss.
Frozen Margarita and her last kiss ever. So I woke up one day, I texted in the Casanovas chat and I said, I'm done. I'm never kissing anyone again. No, I'm kidding. As if. No, I said I'm done, and the next person I want to kiss, I'm just going to kiss them. I don't care for the story anymore. It felt a little anticlimactic. I wanted it to be very big.
It felt like giving up for a moment, but I think it was the right thing to do.
No, really, in that moment, it really felt like giving up. But I was at a point with the whole phase coming to an end, all of my emotions, and then all of this really big build-up that left to nothing. I was just at a point where I was like, I want this to be done and over with, because I want to be able to kiss people when I want to kiss them. And that is where Mr. 100 actually comes in. And I can tell you right now, it's a very short story. One day, a couple of days after I decided I'm done, I just want to kiss someone. I just want to go with the flow again.
Go with the flow.
I just want to go with the flow again. I was swiping on a dating app and I saw this guy that I thought I knew. And I was pretty certain that him and I had actually matched on another dating app a couple of years prior.
That's funny.
We did have a somewhat interesting conversation, but it kind of fizzled out and he never replied again. He must have gotten busy or something.
Happens on dating apps.
Exactly, it happens, whatever. And then we match and we start chatting. It didn't seem like he remembered me, but I still liked the conversation, and I had time that evening and I wanted to go on a date, and so I suggested that we meet up. I was also really curious to finally meet him because the conversation prior went well enough that I already wanted to meet him back then, and then I was a little sad at that point that it fizzled out. So we meet up at a bar and the conversation is flowing and we're laughing so much and we're having a lot of fun. It's nothing immensely special. I'm not sitting there texting into the group chat, this is my soulmate.
But it's a nice guy. And also the soulmate text don't necessarily mean it's a good guy.
Exactly. We've learned that. It really was just simple and nice. We end up going to another bar. We're connecting enough that there's chemistry, but we're not connecting too much. And it's pretty much clear at one point that this isn't really gonna go anywhere. We kind of have different ideas of what we want, but we were still very much adamant about enjoying the time together, that one date that we had. It wasn't like a thing of, oh, this isn't gonna go anywhere, let's pay and leave. Which is sometimes I really appreciate those moments.
Yeah, it was a good situation for you to get back in the saddle again, I think, because you haven't been on a lot of dates during that time before because your whole phase was coming to an end and all that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Just like a simple date, just to get back into the flow.
Yeah.
Exactly. We pay and we leave. It's a school night and...
A school night.
It's one of my favorite sayings. And we both kind of need to head home. It was also very clear that we weren't going to go home together. And we're standing there and we're smiling like idiots. It really is a very obvious standoff. We both want to kiss each other. No one is making the first move. I swear to God, people were like watching us, being like, okay, kiss. What are you doing? I think we maybe stood there for 20 minutes or so at that point.
Damn, just kiss.
Thank God it was warm. I would have frozen my ass off.
You would have went inside, I think, if it was colder.
That could have been, yeah. And then we kissed.
Aww.
It was nice. It wasn't magical, it wasn't fireworks, but it was good. It was good. We made out. It was good enough that I wanted to make out, not too good that I wanted it to like continue at another point. Black and white, simple, good in the moment, and that was exactly what the kiss list is about.
Yeah, cute.
I pulled away from him and I said, congratulations, you're the 100th person that I kissed. I had to have my moment. I couldn't not have my moment.
Back to quantifying the guys.
But he thought it was kind of funny.
Nice.
He thought it was funny.
So he was the right guy to be the 100th.
I mean, he knew what was going to happen because I actually had it in my dating app bio at that point that I was looking for the 100th person to kiss. He knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
He was very well aware of that. Yeah, and it was a moment of feeling a lot of relief because I could finally stop performing for an almost imaginary audience in my head.
You're always performing, for us at least.
yeah, it's fun.
We're
but still,
entertained.
at that point, I was just happy with it. It really hit me that I thought that the meaning for Mr. 100 came from the moment. Like that if I were just to make the moment perfect, I almost wanted a poetic exit from my whole phase. I didn't want a lot. I just wanted fireworks and maybe a marching band if the budget allowed it. It really wasn't a lot, but I wanted something.
I get that.
Confetti falling, a party, people clapping. Woo!
Really not a lot. It's not enough.
simple.
It's not too much to ask for.
It really isn't. I am just a girl.
Exactly. Just a princess after all.
Just a princess after all. But that moment of relaxing and really understanding, okay, I actually don't have to put on a performance. I really was quite relieved. I really think that the way that the story unfolded wasn't necessarily the way that I wanted it to unfold. It was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
It was about me coming to a screeching halt and realizing that I needed to get back into my body. I needed to get back into the moment and going with the vibes of simply allowing myself to live, however that looks like. And that was immensely important. I also realized through that a lot of the times the guy is just a part of it. What makes the story really fun is the way we yap about it afterwards. It's the friends that make it really cool.
Ripping them apart in a group chat.
Or also just like making it a fun story afterwards.
Her banging down my door in the middle of the night.
I've never done that in the middle of the night, I think.
In the middle of the evening.
It's not necessarily that they were big moments in the moment.
Speaking of big moments.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this one a big moment.
Okay.
Because you keep saying all wistfully that this isn't a big moment and that we don't want big moments. But this is a big moment because you planned this whole season. This podcast has come together beautifully. You've come so far. You've uploaded 10 episodes. It's going strong. You're going strong. You've learned a lot. And so I've decided to take this in my own hands and make this a big moment. I have hid some Klopfer in your room for anyone who doesn't know what Klopfers are. The Americans, I get.
What is happening?
It's small bottles of flavored liquor, and you got numbers on the bottom of them, and you knock the Klopfers on a surface for the amount that stands on the bottom.
You brought Klopfer?
I brought Klopfer. Klopfer means like knocker.
Yeah,
I
knockers.
Guess, in English, but not like in a tit way, just in a not knock on something way.
Klopfer are like a big thing in German youth.
It's like party culture, and I think that fits this era of Julia's life really well. And so I thought we'd toast on everything you've accomplished with Klopfer.
So are we toasting to me finally kissing the 100th person?
We toast on the 100th person, or on you kissing them. We could toast on 10 podcast episodes. We toast on you and on me and on friendship and on Klopfer.
On everything.
We toast on everything.
Okay.
I have brought for you fig or strawberry.
Oh, good God. I even have a selection. You know I'm not good with decisions.
Okay, you're gonna drink strawberry.
Okay.
And
it's pink.
And I've brought for me the least liked Klopfer flavor for some reason. It's cream.
Cream is terrible.
I love cream. So I'm drinking cream.
See, but this is exactly what I meant when I said friends make it big. Because what the fuck, Sophie? You're just hijacking my podcast.
So I have a 45 on the bottom of my bottle.
Oh, I forgot the number. Wait. I have a 41.
So I have to knock the bottle 45 times.
And I have to knock it 41. Usually we do it on our hands, or Sophie for some reason does it with her forehead. But I think for the sound to translate, we should actually do it on the table.
Okay, but like I want to try the first, say, 5 knocks on my forehead.
To see if the sound will
to see if the sound will translate.
Okay.
I just have to knock it hard enough, I think.
I don't know if you should do that.
Yeah, so
let's go.
Did you hear that? I don't know. So the last 40.
Let's continue.
I stopped counting.
Okay, we're gonna open it and then we're gonna put the lid on our nose. That's a very important part. It's a very tiny lid. I can't open it. I've got sore arms from yesterday. We're moving furniture.
I'm gonna open the bottle
Open
for
my
Julia.
Klopfer, please. And now she is putting it in between her teeth. Also a very custom thing to do in Germany.
ASMR.
Thank you. Do we have to cheers it the way we usually do? How are we gonna do that? Okay. Oh, I forgot the lid. Wait. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, bitch.
You can have your podcast back now.
Well, thank you for making this a big moment. I appreciate it.
Sure. I didn't have confetti or a marching band, but
the
this
budget
has to
wasn't
be good
allowing
enough.
it, unfortunately. The Klopfer were expensive enough.
I don't think they were.
Well, you found them yesterday.
Yeah.
We were rearranging the apartment, weren't you?
I literally found them on the floor.
Oh, from a party supply. Oh, girl, thank you.
Sure.
Where was I?
Sorry.
I think we were actually at a point with red flags, actually, at this point. I don't think there are any red flags to discuss. It happened.
I don't think so either.
I was a little too inhumane, maybe.
Yeah, we could say about you that you really dishumanized the 100th guy at some point in the story.
The fictional, yeah.
But I think you came back from that at the end.
I was definitely getting too involved with the story and I was not being human enough towards the person.
Yeah, but
I
also
came back
towards
from that.
yourself.
And
I
to
think.
myself, that's true.
Yeah, you also stopped taking care of yourself during that time.
But
And then you started again, so
yeah,
that's nice.
I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong.
No.
So that's with red flags for this episode.
That's nice for once.
Wow.
Not having to shoot anyone in the back.
In the back.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like standing him face against the wall and then
you
shooting
shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
You have
Or-
a lot of interesting scenarios in your head regarding the men I date.
Yeah, most of them deserve it.
Fair. Kiss, marry, kill.
Kiss, I guess.
Kiss for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you would again, wouldn't
I
you?
would again. There's no kill, there's no marry. It's fine. I think what's really interesting is how Mr. 100 at the end kind of became a staple story, because I did not get to 100 people by having toxic and exhausting connections with people for months to an end over a lot of periods of over a lot of dates.
No.
Most of the people that I kissed were one-off cute little dates where it felt right in the moment you wanted to make out and then nothing ever happened again. Those don't really make for a good story, and that's why there hasn't been any one of those in the earlier episodes. But I find that quite interesting that the last person is then, a very new kind of story then again.
Yeah, and a very clean end to an era.
Really shows the diversity of the whole phase, to be honest.
It wasn't messy, it didn't drag out, it was just a cute one-off. Like
so
most
nice.
of them.
Which was so good, because right the next day I had so much drama going on with another guy. But
God damn it.
that's a story for another time. Okay, guys. For anyone that has made it this far, thank you so much to listening to the first season. We talked about all kinds of guys that I encountered. We talked about the toxic, the stupid, the amazing ones, the fun ones, the intense ones, the simple ones. We talked about how I grew, and I hope you laughed at all of the stupid mistakes that I made, and I hope we all kind of learned something.
I know I did.
What did
Laugh,
you learn?
I mean,
laugh.
not learn.
No, yeah.
I
what would
already
you
knew
learn?
everything.
Yeah, that's fair. You were in the first row. But I think if there's one thing I want everyone to kind of take away from this, it's that wanting connection does not make you dramatic, and exploring your desires does not make you reckless, and being in a whole phase does not make you broken. And maybe, just maybe, at the end of the day, we're all people that have cravings and timing issues and cringe moments and a heart that every now and again sprints forward without asking for permission. The reason why I say all of this is because I think, especially as women in this patriarchal society, it can be so easy to kind of lose sight of that self. And this was my love letter towards accepting yourself for who you are. Because that's what this entire season was about. Making mistakes, finding joy, figuring out who you are, growing, evolving, and looking back and not flinching, but laughing and being grateful for having the courage to make those mistakes so that you could go one step further in your evolution. Desire is not a crime scene. Please, during the break, do not forget that. And you get to actually change your mind, and you get to look back at something messy, and you get to be horny and confused and hopeful, and you are still deserving of love. Do not forget that. This finale was not about the kiss. It was not about the number. It was about choosing presence over plot. And I can also tell you that whatever I'm walking into next, I will not be holding a scoreboard above my head. That's my promise to myself.
Well said.
Guys, that was my take on Mr. 100.
Please don't cry. She
I'm
looks
not
at me
gonna
like she's gonna cry.
I'm just very emotional. Shut up.
It was beautiful. You're allowed to cry.
I'm not gonna cry.
Okay,
I don't always cry.
Okay, don't cry.
I might cry. we shall see. No, okay, jokes aside, guys, thank you so much. Honest to God, this was amazing, and I think I honestly learned so much, because I know for sure that I definitely grew with the way I started editing things. I needed to learn that.
Yeah, but you did.
Stick with me. I'm gonna get better.
Yeah,
that I promise.
Will.
That if you have learned anything, it is that I get better.
No, you get better.
I get better. Okay, listen. We're gonna go on a season break, and I'm gonna come back with a bang. I can tell you that. There's still a lot to unpack. There's a lot of case studies to be analyzed and dating phases to be examined.
Yeah.
Episode 1 of season 2 is actually going to drop on the 12th of April. Put it in your calendars. Follow me on my socials. They're linked in the description box. And I will remind you. I will see you back in a couple of weeks. Go kiss as many people as you want. Stay in the moment. Go with the flow. And text me all of the details. Bye.
Bye.